In a live talk show, my choice, and go for nothing less. Sensation for excellence. Sensation for excellence. CH10, station for excellence.
Top on the news. African Union Development Agency charges youths on peaceful elections. Plus, INEC chairman inspects National Collation Center. Good evening and welcome to the news at 7 on NT Lagos Channel 10. I am Essie Omaka. Now the news in detail. The 36th ordinary session of the African Union is underway in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with participating heads of state and government seeking to generate greater political commitment in trade as a development agenda for the continent. President Muhammadu Buhari is leading Nigeria's delegation to the high-level summit for the last time as head of state. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that President Azali Asmani of the Comoros took over the chairmanship of the union from his Senegalese counterpart, Macky Sall.
This year's summit of the heads of state and government of the African Union has as its theme acceleration of the African Continental Free Trade Area implementation. Participants are seeking to enhance close collaboration with all relevant organs and specialized agencies of the African Union, regional mechanisms, and economic communities towards fast-tracking the implementation of the AfCFTA for the benefit of Africa's population. The AfCFTA, they say, presents a unique opportunity for the continent to attain economic emancipation, which will lead to job creation, poverty alleviation, improved welfare, and sustainable development. The opening speeches, however, touched on the various socio-economic, political, and security challenges bedeviling Africa, as well as ways and means of addressing them in the greater interests of the continent and its people.
The ties between the African Union and the United Nations have never been stronger. But I also recognize the enormous tests that Africa, and indeed our world, is facing on virtually every front. The United Nations is proud to be your partner and to work together.
It is time for Africa to feed itself and fully unlock its agricultural potential to feed the world. Until Africa tells her own stories, her image will remain distorted. In this respect, please allow me to reiterate yet again the need to establish an African Union Continental Media House.
The AfCFTA presents itself as a tool to be deployed by the African Union to position Africa to adequately respond to the challenges of our time. We must dare to invent the economic future of the African continent.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who addressed the summit during a closed session, made a strong case for commitment by member states to hasten the completion of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. This, he said, will go a long way in promoting fair and competitive trade relations towards diversifying their economies and stimulating regional integration with the aim of achieving sustainable growth and development. While stating emphatically that Nigeria fully embraced the spirit of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, President Muhammadu Buhari is, however, worried over the multiplicity of intellectual property bodies on the continent, which he said must be harmonized so that an effective and comprehensive One Africa market can be achieved. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Back home, as the Lagos state records pockets of violence occasioned by the prevailing cash swap crisis, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has announced the extension of the reduction in fares of all state-run transport scheme and directed security agents to strengthen security surveillance across the metropolis. The governor made this known at a media interactive forum to inform residents of steps being taken to cushion the effect of the economic challenges in Lagos. Musa Cholet has the details.
The unrest that erupted in some parts of the metropolis is connected with the inability of residents to have access to cash in banks, automated teller machines, or at point of sales terminals. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the state government has not been insensitive to the plight of residents, hence the need to notify them of efforts being made to address the situation.
Please remain calm at this time. There is no justification whatsoever for attacking public or private property. The law enforcement agents have received clear instructions to take full control and to ensure zero tolerance for any and all acts of arson, violence, or destruction.
Apart from extending the reduction in charges in state-owned transport schemes, he has directed that distribution of food palliatives for indigent residents should continue.
We have also equally in discussion with private transport operators not to hike price at this very difficult time, given the very difficult circumstances in which Lagosians find themselves.
With few days to the presidential and National Assembly elections, the governor appealed to residents to guard jealously the democratic governance and gave assurance of enhanced security to ensure they exercise their franchise.
We know that there are unscrupulous persons who want to sow seeds of violence and discord by their very utterance and actions, all with the view of robbing you of the chance to cast your votes just a week from today, February 25th, at both the presidential and the National Assembly election. Do not allow them to use you to achieve whatever evil intentions they have.
He urged the people to go about their lawful businesses and shun acts capable of disrupting the peace and tranquility of the state. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
And to police matters, the Nigerian police force has cautioned Nigerians against divisive and crisis-prone utterances. In a statement signed by the Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi, says amidst the prevailing outcries and reactions on the new Naira policy in the country, the Nigerian police force has deemed it necessary to caution groups and individuals against divisive comments and utterances capable of heating up the polity and triggering crisis in the nation. The NPF therefore charges the citizenry of Nigeria to remain calm and embrace peace, as the federal government has assured that it is taking the bull by the horn assiduously to address the scarcity of Naira and fuel and restore normalcy in all sectors. Similarly, the Nigerian populace is hereby urged to desist any act of violence, hooliganism, and vandalism that may jeopardize the ongoing electoral process, which is significant and critical in the transitional advancement of democracy in Nigeria. You're still watching the news at 7 and in Telecos Channel 10. More to come after this time out. Stay with us.
It's Motonic time. Motonic time. It's no resistance to the last drop till it brings
Maltonic is enriched with vitamins and minerals for that rush of vitality you need to reach greatness.
It's Motonic time.
Are you looking for a spacious, serene, beautiful, and comfortable environment for your event? Then NTA Lagos Channel 10 premises is the place with about 3,065 capacity. NTA Lagos Channel 10 premises provides a well-secured land and car parking lot for your wedding reception, birthday party, church and school end of the year event. Our conference hall is convenient for company annual general meetings, lectures, seminars or workshops. With just 150,000 naira only, you can use our entire space and also have your event covered and aired on our social program, Maryland. For more inquiries, please contact our marketing department, NTA Lagos Channel 10, Tejesho, or call our telephone number, Chibuzo 0812-324-5519, Gmo 0803 830-1669. NTA Lagos Channel 10 premises, affordable just for you. You're welcome back. All is set for the 2023 general elections. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu gave the assurance after inspecting the National Collation Center and ad hoc staff undergoing training in Abuja.
The 2023 general elections just a week away, and the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, away from his office to the government secondary school, Gariki, Abuja, inspecting ad hoc staff undergoing training. From here off to the International Conference Center, Abuja, housing three major venues for the elections: the National Collation Center, the Situation Room, and Press Center.
So we're going to get feedback from all the states, what's going on in the states, and also we'll be having press briefing. And in a few days' time, we're going to be having daily briefings here also.
Naira scarcity and the protest generated in some parts of the country, not threats to the elections, the INEC chairman assured.
But as I keep saying, we will not suffer any hindrances. What is happening around the country, the protest that you have mentioned, this is an issue that we are going to discuss with the security agencies. By this time next week, Nigerians will be voting in over 176,000 polling units nationwide. And the outcome of that process for presidential election will be compiled here. And the choice made by Nigerians for the next president of the country will also be announced at this venue.
That is an assurance coming from the confident national chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to Nigerians that next week, Saturday, 25 of February 2023, presidential and national assembly elections will hold. That means by Sunday or Monday, Nigerians will know their president and vice president-elect, as well as members of the National Assembly. Until then, my name is Mie Ogedi from the National Collation Center, ICC, Abuja.
All right, to shed more light on INEC's preparedness for the 2023 general elections is Femi Adeyeye. He is the National Publicity Secretary, African Action Congress, AAC. You're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, the elections are just a few days away, and recently the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, gave the assurance that inspection of the National Collation Center in Abuja that the nation's electoral umpire is now set for the 2023 general elections. What is your reaction to this in terms of assessment of the of INEC's preparedness?
Yeah, all right. I think it is first of all important to state this categorically that it is quite unfortunate that 7 days to the election, we are even sitting down to debate INEC's preparedness or otherwise. We are saying this because 2 days ago we read in the news that even INEC is yet to receive cash to be prepared for the election. So before you can conduct an election, there are several parameters that would assist, both from security to logistics to movement to even the fuel scarcity issue now is beginning to affect INEC, because in the last meeting that was held with political leaders in Abuja, the INEC chairman was expressing the fears and the concerns that they may not have enough fuel to move around. And but as government would always say that they're always prepared for things. But for us, we were making a case that we are not so convinced that INEC is prepared. Because if you place some of the parameters, like I mentioned, from security to logistics and everything, you place them on the table, you'll find out that it is not clear. The temperature out there on the streets is not suggestive that INEC is actually ready for the elections. But would be so happy if we were proven otherwise.
All right. So, against the backdrop of pockets of violence by some citizens in some parts of the country, how visible do you think will be the 2023 general election?
Well, that's still part of what I just discussed, the security issue and everything. But with the present crisis in the country, because we cannot sit in the studio to lie to ourselves that there are no serious issues out there. It is pointing to the fact that it seems they do not want elections, or the government is actually encouraging voter apathy, because when people are not sure that if they go out to vote, they would go home safe and sound back to their homes, they won't come out. We've seen different reports about voter apathy in the past, but with what you are having right now, the pockets of riots happening left, right, and center across the country, what you should expect is that voter apathy would be heightened, except the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari comes in and addresses this particular issue, and not just to pay lip service to it as we've always had.
Okay, what do you think about the introduction of the BVAS? Recently it was used during the bulk accreditation, and it was a success. So, don't you think?
Yes, so I don't sound like an extreme pessimist, Charles. You see, it's always an election burst system. There was a time the card reader thing was the biggest thing. Oh, this card reader was going to be game changer. I'm talking 2011, 2015. Now it is BVAS. So the government would always come up with something that sounds highfalutin, just to increase the faith that Nigerians have in the elections. But what we've seen from BVAS is that it is a step, towards incremental progress. But it actually is not the end, because we've seen cases like what happened in Osun. So the BVAS could not stop overvoting. So so BVAS, as we say it in our party, is just like a CCTV camera, that can tell you who stole, but it cannot prevent stealing. These are. So the end point is that we must move from that aspect of electronic infusing electronic system into our elections, to the point that we start discussing electronic voting. And I think that's the way to go. Nigeria is right for it.
Yes, in the course of your discussion, you mentioned some challenges with regards to fuel scarcity and Naira. How do you think we can mitigate against these?
Yes, it is for the people who are in charge of those things to come out straight to Nigerians and tell them what's actually happening. You can't, as we've seen today, you can't continue to use Nigerians as, lab rats when you're having your in-house fights, because it's glaring that within the APC there's an implosion. The president is saying something, the governors are saying something else, the Supreme Court, being the third and independent arm of government, is saying, another thing. So what we need to do, or what is the advice to Nigerians now, is that they should not keep quiet. Call out the president. The president should come out straight and address all of these issues, from the fuel scarcity to the Naira scarcity. It is rather unfortunate that today in Nigeria, we are not even discussing dollar rates anymore. It is now Naira rates. How much is Naira? How much are you exchanging Naira for today? So is it 2,000 Naira at the POS points to get 10,000 or 3,000? It's just quite funny how the situation is just continuing to degenerate. So it's going to have a lot of effects on the elections, except it is addressed holistically and not just by all day in one state broadcast.
All right, speaking of the electorates and the political gladiators, how do you think they should conduct themselves before the election, during, and after?
Yes, I can speak for the African Action Congress. We've always been advocating for peace, that electoral choices are actually very important, but while you are trying to exercise that right, that you must not infringe on the rights of other Nigerians to also hold electoral opinions. So it has to be peaceful, and but it also has a lot to do with the people who are the gladiators, like you said. They are the ones who determine what happens at the end of the day to the elections.
Hopefully, we're going to have a successful, credible.
That's the prayer. That's the prayer of all Nigerians.
Thank you so much, Femi Adbiyeye. He is the National Publicity Secretary, African Action Congress. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Moving on. Still on elections, ahead of the 2023 general elections, an African Union Development Agency has appealed to the youths in Nigeria to work together for peaceful elections in the country. The group made this known during a sensitization campaign to enlighten the public on the need to shun electoral violence. Benga Oluyede tells us more.
The violence-free election was kicked off at Alausa Secretariat area through Alhaji Jakonde Road, Agidingbi, and terminated at Allen Junction, Ikeja. The group noted that the future of Nigeria is bigger than individual ambitions, advising the electorate to prevent everything that will mar the February 25th and March 11 elections.
Before election and after election, some people believe that the violence is their mission to gain influence into the party. But through this program they are doing before any election, every time that we have election in Nigeria, they have been doing marvelously. They have been sensitizing people towards the election that there is nothing we are to gain in having violence around election period.
They also stress that the future of Nigeria and Africa at large lies in the hands of the young people, and urge them to promote peace and no violence during and after elections.
The campaign against violence during election, against vote buying, and against telling our conscience, our civic rights, so that at the end of the day, we don't bring in people that cannot meet up with the needs of the masses. Now we are on it again. For the 2023 election, we are campaigning that the youth, the women, men should say no to violence during the election.
To silence the gun, it is time to silence the violence, it is time to silence the church. When we are afraid, what we are needing this time around is peaceful votes with peaceful results. That is what is the paramount in our citizen Nigeria.
The group further advised Nigerians to be change agents for the growth of the nation, adding that the period of election is when the country makes decisions on leadership. In Lagos, Benga Oluyede, NTN.
And in sports, football enthusiasts and stakeholders have met in Lagos to discuss on how to develop sports, especially football, in Nigeria. They generally believe that the Nigerian Football Fund, GNFF, will play major roles in encouraging the business world to invest on the Nigerian Football and Professional League. Kehinde Lamidi reports.
It is generally observed that Nigerian sports, with a special reference to football, is in comatose due to various traditional beliefs, which include government at all levels, involvement in sponsoring football clubs, mismanagement on the part of administrators, favoritism and nepotism on the part of the supposedly impartial arbiters, the referees, among others, have bedeviled the growth and development of the Nigerian Football League.
So if the country generally is not doing well, it will also affect other sectors, and football is just one of them. One, we don't have structures. We are not treating football as business yet. Until we begin to look at football as business and take football away from government, corrections we are making in the governance of the game in the country right now, that's going to work.
Football Federation, it's like we don't really have a direction on the purpose, and then a lack of interest or a fear of commitment from the private sector because they are not sure about what is going on.
Even though Nigerian players who are product of the league are scattered all over Europe and other football playing nations, plying their trades, but there is the urgent need to improve the standard of the Nigerian Professional Football League. Hence, the intervention and launch of the Nigerian Football Fund. In an interactive session involving sports and business journalists, the Executive Director on Fund Management, Nancy Ine, explained that the project is a tonic that Nigerian football deserves to move into higher level.
The presentation is to actually reveal the opportunities we have in this league and the kind of systems and structures we need to put in place to drive our football league going forward.
He said the group has conceived the idea about 15 years ago and highlighted positive ways at which the fund will enhance the growth of the Nigerian Professional Football League.
And elite sports is professional business, and investors expect to get returns on their investment.
With this investment on Nigerian football, it is hoped that the Nigerian Football League will be ranked among the best in no distant future. In Lagos, it's been Kehinde Lamidi reporting for NTA Sports.
And weather forecast is up next. And that concludes the size of our package of the news at 7 on NTA Lagos Channel 10. Many thanks for watching. I am Ese Owamaka. Good evening.